Hey, scrappy people. Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with a layout using the Cocoa Daisy Quiet Meadow collection. And today I'm leaning fully into the butterflies because we went on a little easy hike during our adventures in Tennessee, actually, for my vacation album. And this little butterfly, I don't know if you can see it. Actually, you'd be able to see it better on this photo. This little butterfly followed me, not followed, literally landed on my arm, and I hiked with it all the way down the mountain on my arm right here. And then when we got to the bottom, it flew over to my middleist and was on his knee for, I don't know, another half a mile. And so we walked awkwardly. I walked down the mountain the whole way like this to show my mom at the bottom of the mountain that there was a butterfly on my arm. Anyway, here it is on my hand. Anyway, there are lots and lots of butterflies in the Quiet Meadow collection, so I'm leaning fully into that today. And I think what I'm actually going to do, since this isn't my 6x8 album, I think I'm going to do a 6x8 pocket insert. I don't do a lot of solely pocket pages lately, but I do like to do them in my 6x8 album. So I think I'm going to do a pocket insert with these, and then have this be like a little divider, because this was like in the middle of another story. This is like a small story inside a bigger story. So I think I'm just gonna have like this little divider page to tell the story, and then I will probably put this on the back of there so that when you open it, there's another photo. I might rearrange these so I'm not next to myself in both of these. Anyway, so then I have a couple of 3x4 card options here as well. I kind of want to use the butterfly on stamp in here too, so I might stamp on the back of this page. Yeah, so that's where I'm headed, so let's get started. So if you've been around since my Project Life days, I did a lot of Project Life scrapbooking, or at least pocket style scrapbooking prior to 2020. And so what I like to do for my pocket page scrapbooking is, I can't leave well enough alone with anything. And I like to make mini collages for my 3x4, 4x6 cards, whatever size I'm doing, because I can't just stick a photo in a pocket and call it good. That's just not how I scrapbook. So we're going to be building collages for these pages. So what I have to do is take all of these photos that I already printed and cut them down a little bit smaller. For this one, I cut it down to 2.5 by 3.5, or maybe, 2.5 by 3.5, which gave me a 1/4 inch border all the way around. And I matted it with one of the patterned cards from the collection. Now I'm going to do my stamping. I thought maybe I would want to do these sunflowers at the bottom, but I didn't think that they would really look right, do it justice. So instead I'm just going to do some words and the butterfly. So I want to stamp the butterfly in a few different places, but the first thing I need to do obviously is put this down, commit to where it goes, and then I'm going to add in just a couple of words as well. So this one says, enjoy the moment. I'm going to messy stamp it in a couple places. I always like to just messy stamp to begin with. That way, if my stamping ends up being not perfect down the line, then I don't get too mad about it. Just preemptively messing my page up on purpose makes me feel so much better. So I'm going to add this in 3 places, and then I'm going to add another one of these stamps, I think from the other stamp sheet. I really thought about using that fun tag stamp that's on the other stamp set, but I decided instead that I didn't want to add my journaling on this side of the page. I'm going to use one of the 3x4 cards instead. So I'm just going to use the stamp right here and put it under here. Beautiful. And then I'm going to build some more collage pieces around that photo in a minute, but I decided that I wanted to hop over to this side and start working on the collages. So I'm trimming these down to actually 2.5 by 3.25, and what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to mat them on some patterned card pieces so that they actually mat like Polaroids. So there's a little bit of a edge down at the bottom, you can see there, that I can use to build some clusterings and add in some like word strips or things like that. So I'm adding these to these pattern cards that I had already pulled out and deciding that they don't really make enough of an impact with this card right here. There's just too much white space going on with everything. So I wanted to pull in some different patterns that would be a little bit brighter on this side of the page and not really fade in as much with the rest of the cards. So I decided to pull out this blue, and then I need another one for the other photo that I had already matted on the butterfly paper, but that was the one that really made me think, no, this isn't working. So I'm going to pull it off, and I'm instead going to put it on a different one. I decided to go with this red card. Even though it's not patterned, it was a really bold color and really made this side of the page pop a little bit better. And since I'm going to be collaging it and adding things to it, I thought it would be fine if it wasn't patterned, especially with the busy pattern sitting next to it. I thought it would be okay. So I have some paper strips here from other layouts that I've created with this collection, and I thought that I would make some notched banners with this one in particular, just because I really liked the way that botanical looked. So I'm actually going to cut it in half where the leaf is, so that I can have one that is floral and one that is a leaf. So I'm just going to notch it at the bottom here. I still have foam from a previous layout on my scissors. I'm going to notch it at the bottom here, and then I'm going to do the same with this one. And then I'm going to stagger them underneath my photo so that they sit at different heights on the page and they don't, both end in the same place. Makes it a little bit more visually interesting. It's also going to frame out that butterfly on the bottom. I do end up rearranging these and putting the floral one on the inside and the leaf one on the outside later when I add my title, because one of the alphabets in this collection that I end up using is the same brown craft as that background paper, or the paper in the background of that. And so when I tried to put it on top of it, it was fading in and disappearing. So I had to rearrange the two so that it sat on the floral piece instead, and you could still read it. So it says little friend, and that side is done, and we can start adding the embellishments to this side. I decided to sit that butterfly right on my shoulder in the photo. First of all, to cover up the background where you have some weird limbs just hanging out, but also to draw your attention to the butterfly that is actually on my shoulder. The same thing is going to happen with this. I'm going to actually use this offcut, and I'm going to frame both sides of this photo so that your eye is drawn again right to the butterfly. Not that it wouldn't be in this photo particularly, because it is just a big photo of a knee. So you see the butterfly right away. But I really love the way that this sort of effect really just adds a beautiful frame to that photo and makes it more interesting to look at. So now I'm adding word bits, going through and adding some more florals just to finish out the embellishing part of this page. I think it's really pretty, but I felt like that butterfly was just hanging out there. He needed something to sit on besides my shoulder, so we're gonna add in another floral. I always have a hard time getting the backings off of these die cuts. And then I need to make a spot for journaling on that last card too. And then I think that this one will be close to done. I'm gonna add in a couple of tags I got these tags in I think 3 different parts of the collection. I think they were in both memory keeping collections and in the classified memory keeping collection, the white tags. So I have quite a few of them. Then I love these word bits too. I always love black and white word bits. They're just so easy to use. I thought wild and free was perfect there. My son was so stoked that butterfly was on his knee for half the hike. It was crazy how it was just sitting there on us. It was like it was napping. I'm going to layer these tags and then add in another couple of embellishments, just leaning really heavily on the die cuts more than anything else. It keeps the page nice and flat. I am trying so hard to only have one album for this entire adventure, and we did a lot. There are a lot of photos, so keeping it to cardstock and stickers really helps keep the album smaller so that I can fit more in. Then I'm going to add in one more flower and call this whole page good. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. Tell me in the comments below, do you love pocket scrapbooking? Is it something that you still do? I'm thinking about doing it a little bit more in the coming years, so let me know. All right, thank you.